Hello and welcome to the first official episode of the Get Coached podcast. Once again, please remember to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any episodes that we release, and to hit the notification button so that you are alerted when we release something new. So, that long-awaited series that I was talking about 2 weeks ago, this month we're going to be discussing creating multiple streams of income. And I want us to be very, very practical about this in the conversations that we're going to have over the next couple of episodes. So before I begin, I'd like to introduce to you my co-host, my friend turned sister turned best friend. Professionally, she's an editorial specialist, but she's very passionate about digital content creation. She is the brains behind the Get Coached logo, the branding for the website and the YouTube channel. I tell this woman my vision and she executes it perfectly to the T. I owe the starting of this podcast to her. When I told her the idea, it wasn't, oh, but this, but that. It was, what do we need to do? What's your vision? What are the next steps? So thank you, lady behind the camera. So I'd like to introduce you to Christine, my co-host.
Hi everyone, my name is Christine, as Kay said, and by profession she's basically already introduced me. And yeah, I mean, ideally, I really just love content creation. It's a passion of mine and it really makes me happy. So that's why when she told me about the podcast, I was like, yes, I'm gonna do this. So it's exciting for me to be here, and I'm normally behind the camera. That's what I'm comfortable at. So, but you know, why not? Let me join the fun this time around, and just get involved and engage with the topic about multiple streams of income. And just to touch a bit on that, I for one know that my paycheck is one of those things that comes and goes before you know it. And you know, Kate and I have talked about like how do we then like dabble into other things, like other avenues to bring in the monies. You know, we all want the monies, we all want that soft life, and unfortunately that soft life requires the monies. So when this topic came up, I was like, yes, I'm so excited to hear about it, because like she mentioned, she wants to be practical about it. So the plan is to probably bring in people who are actually doing the work, you know, and then they break it down to us like bit by bit, step by step, on what's working, what's not working, so that we're not just hearing about these avenues or that people use to get extra income, but we actually have sort of like a case study that is working for them. So yeah, I'm honestly stoked and excited to be here and hear more about this. I hope you are too.
So awesome, so good to have you here co-hosting. This is great. So yeah, I wanted to have this as a first episode because I feel like people often forget that your friend's success is my success, you know? I often think of the time when I first moved to this country. You know, I stayed with two friends.
Yeah.
They know who they are. Shout out to you guys. Thank you so much. Because if it wasn't for them, I would have had to have a lot of savings, you know, to stay on my own until I got a job and got up on my feet. So had it not been for those guys, you know, yeah, I don't even know if I'll be here right now. So yeah, we often forget that if you succeed, automatically I succeed. I mean, let's even think of the scenario where I'm now a billionaire, okay? And I want to go to Fiji for the weekend. Who do you think is going on that trip with me? Okay, I'm gonna be like, girls, pack your bags. What are you doing for Easter? Let's go. The more the merrier, you know? So yeah, you know, when you find a formula that works, there's more than enough for everybody. Like, share the formula, tell people what you're doing to succeed so that other people can maybe not copycat, but maybe use your ideas, whatever, to do something for themselves, to uplift themselves, you know?
Yeah, no, totally agree. Even just the whole concept, I remember somebody once said that there's enough happiness in this world for everyone. given
Yeah.
one. So, we don't need to have a brief phase when somebody gets something. I'll turn you calm. In the meantime, celebrate your friend. You'll be in that space where you're contained, you're at peace, and you're happy for your friend. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to keep moving and
Exactly. So yeah, when I was thinking about this topic, then I was like, okay, how do we do this practically, right? You've got a 9 to 5, you've got kids, like there's no time. How do I create another source of income while I'm still giving 100%, 120% to my job, right? So I watched this podcast, I sent it to all my friends. Last year, maybe December, it was on the School of Greatness podcast. We're going to link it in the description box. And Jaspreet Singh, he was on the podcast speaking to Lewis Howes on the School of Greatness. So Jaspreet was basically saying that he was in medical school, on the trajectory to become a doctor. So he told his parents that he didn't want to do this anymore. Obviously, they weren't happy. And then he had Googled who the richest people in the world are. And none of them were doctor, lawyer, or working for a corporation. So he was basically saying that there's no strong correlation between education and being rich. Now, we're not discounting education. We love school. I'm studying. Christine is forever studying. She's influenced me to study. To better ourselves and to climb the corporate ladder. But basically, Jaspreet's point was that most of the top or billionaires, richest people in the world, they don't work for a corporation. They own the corporation. They own part of the equity of the company in some way or form. So basically, he was saying that you can cry about your salary until you're blue in the face, but at the end of the day, a company's fiduciary duty is to the shareholders. That just means that their legal obligation is to the shareholders. At the end of the day, they have to make the shareholders their return because they've invested in the company. So we need to pay them back. So at the end of the day, yes, companies care about us, but at the end, it's about bottom line and what goes to the shareholders, the return on investment, ROE.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the main things about this podcast is sharing information. Like, you're very good with this kind of thing, and we often chat about like, oh, okay, so this is the issue, shareholder issue, and this is what companies do, etc, etc. So I love chatting with her because I have so much to learn regarding what you're good at, your wealth of knowledge on these issues. And with school, this is also another debate where her and I have had. She said, I love education. I do love studying because I'm one of those people. I'm like, I need to study. That's how I'm going to get more money and etc. But this is where she convinced me, sort of, and was like, no, let's look at other streams of streams of revenue, of income, and how we can better ourselves. Not just the 9 to 5, as great as those are, it's also about security, because we know we're secure in that position as dependent on how well the company's also doing. But beyond that, we also need to sort of look outside of that security and have faith that you can do better. You can do other things. There are other sources of income. So I'm keen to hear more about how other people actually doing it.
So yeah, just to add to that, like I always think of this, that how many people have like MBAs and all these prestigious degrees? Like, what are the chances that it's gonna be you on that executive board or being a CEO of a corporation? Because it's also not just about your degree, it's luck, it's personality, timing, God's grace, and even likability, connections, networking. Like there's a lot that factors into you getting to the top. So yeah, I think putting all your eggs in the corporate basket in this day and age, no.
And you would know, I mean, you're in the corporate space also, so it's a struggle. It's cutthroat for a lot of people, and it's being cutthroat, being in that industry, sort of, and does affect people's mental health. And I think in this day and age, the world is sort of pivoting towards mental health. Like it's become such a real thing. Like wellness, well-being is at the top of a lot of people, and they, the new, obviously the slogan is, as it goes, self-care. So you want that for yourself.
Exactly. People are woke about their mental health these days, which is great. So yeah, we just wanted to be very practical, okay, about this, and it'll be nice to hear your suggestions, and just put it in the comments, DM us and with your ideas. We're even happy to have people come on and share their views on how they create a side hustle or multiple streams of income. So yeah. So we watched this video on YouTube. So one of our mutual friends introduced me to this YouTube channel. We're gonna link it as well, called ALUTS.com, and there's this particular video that we watched. Do you wanna talk about?
Yeah, so our friend introduced us to that video, and it was such an insightful video. It's one of those must watch if you want that motivation to get going and all that stuff. So what the video highlighted was the 15 evergreen businesses. So basically these are businesses that have survived the test of time. One of those that's evergreen, meaning it's always needed, the demand is always there. So we're only gonna highlight 4. And from the 4, it's food, Uber Eats. Let's say Uber Eats, Mr. Delivery. Those kind of like systems that require or food, but ideally it's food. And then the second one is kindergartens and childcare. Listen, we're mothers and we know the need of these things, the need of these institutions and these services, because there are some times where you need to give your nanny a break. Like what then do you do? We also send our kids to kindergarten because of course education, you want to start them early, but at the same time you also need to go to work. And they need to be somewhere. They need to be somewhere, yes, for lack of a better word. And then the third one is weddings, events, and funerals. And weddings, everybody's getting married. So it's one of those, like, you can sort of look at event planning to see funerals as dark as that business is. People, the cycle of life is that you live and you die, unfortunately. So that is always in demand. I mean, there's what you always have customers, and there's a lot of us in this world. So those services are needed. And the last one is commerce. So the idea is to buy low and sell high. And again, Miss Kate is good at explaining this even better. So please tell us more.
Actually, very basic. So I think the video talked about how where people get commerce wrong is they're buying things at the retail price already and reselling it for higher. So that's automatically getting the formula wrong. What we need to do is to find a wholesaler, something like that, buy low, then sell it at retail. That's how you do it. You don't make your profit when you sell the item, you make your profit when you buy the item at the very start of the chain. So that's why I really liked this video on ALUTS.com. I just feel like we need to be extremely practical. Like, we work hard. That's why this video is late. Apologies for that. But that's why this video is late, because we've had a hectic 2 weeks. There was no time for Get Coached. So practically speaking, like, you have kids, you've got a 9 to 5, which is never 9 to 5, more like 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. on
Whenever the work
most
is
days. Yeah.
When the work is done, basically.
How do I practically do something else on the side? Something small. I mean, even if you're making 3,000 rands a month, that's fuel for the month. It's helping you. Until you can create a corporation, start employing people.
Yeah, and just to add on, I think one of probably a disclaimer is that most of these businesses that Alex highlighted is that yes, some do need a high capital and some don't. So especially I think that's important for almost all businesses. It's like, where do you get the money and etc. So I just wanted to put that as a
That's
disclaimer.
true.
Yeah.
So, practically speaking, it's also different when you have like a tangible skill and when you don't have a tangible skill. So for people that have skills like sewing, I don't know, handyman, painting, like I found my pool guy, I found my painters on a website called Candua. I accidentally by chance came across it when I was googling painters in Joburg. So websites like that, I'd like for you guys to also link some of the ones that in the comments. So this website has pre-vetted service providers. You describe what you need in the thing on the website, and then 5 service providers come to your WhatsApp with the number you put, whatever, and they give you their quotations. So, websites like that. Another friend told me about Fiverr. I think this one's more international. Candua, by the way, I think was started by 2 gentlemen at UCT. So, people are doing amazing things. If you have a skill like that, you're innovative. You create an app and things like that. But another friend told me about Fiverr. If you have a specialized skill, you can put it on there, describe what you're offering, and I think this one is global and people can find you there. So that's how you grow your network, your client base, on websites such as these. But I mean, guys, even if you have a young, small skill like makeup, my life coach told me about this one lady that worked for a law firm at reception, was doing makeup on weekends, but she was so good at her craft that demand grew so much that she now does it full time and she earns more than she did as a receptionist. I mean, I think YouTube teaches you everything these days. Like, we're not telling you guys anything that's not already common knowledge out there. I think just hearing it from someone else sometimes makes a difference. But even if like you and a bunch of your friends, buy some cute overalls, learn how to paint, and put your profile on Candua.
Actually, even just to add on, I think one of my friends was telling me about Take a Lot delivering that. Take a Lot has grown obviously more than before, especially during the pandemic and all that stuff. And people have become lazy, like myself, where I just need to order these things online. And with their new system where they sometimes deliver on weekends, which is amazing. So so they're always in need, and that's what she was going to look at, like sourcing a car, a bike, whatever system she was going to use to basically add on to her 9 to 5, because like everyone else, like me, she's also struggling with her paycheck. So it's just those sort of like ideas, that really are amazing, and the plan is to sort of get step by step, right? So that you really hear from somebody who's doing it. I mean, you spoke about Fiverr. I remember once I was also looking at like part-time jobs on this platform called Nomad. I don't know if it's global or local, but the thing is, I put my CV, my skills out there, and I nothing came from it.
Not laughing.
Nothing came from it. So it's that concept that I think what I'm going to enjoy most about this is that we're going to have people who have cracked the code. They have the formula in check. They're giving us step by step. They're giving us how how it worked for them, what didn't work, and just more content on it. And I would really love that, because I don't know, I've never heard anyone say they've gotten a job from Nomad. But then again, maybe my circles is really small, so who knows?
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. One the guest we have next week has cracked the commerce part of the evergreen businesses. So she's gonna walk us through how to go about doing that. She won't be discussing her business on this episode specifically. They will come back and coach us on that. But I wanted to focus this specific episode not on a business, but how to go about starting that using this platform that she uses, and it's really working well for them. So thank you for tuning in, and if you made it to the end of the episode, well done. We forgot to mention last week that you can catch us on your podcast sort of streaming sites, Google, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. If you don't want to look at our pretty faces, you can listen to us on there. So we look forward to next week. And going forward, we'll do episodes on Sundays. And on the topic we've discussed, again, please share more websites, apps that people can load their skills, side hustle suggestions. Practically speaking, though, very, very practical is the key. And we'll see you all next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.